Welcome, everyone, to today's session. Others are still coming in, and we are glad that you are able to make it. This is number one, session one, class one, and by Bruce Miller. And I'm going to launch the poll for you so that you can start working on that as others come on into the meeting. Others are still coming in. We're going to get everybody in here. Awesome. If you would go ahead now and uh, complete that. We'll keep it up until I have more coming in until Bruce is ready for us.
And just to be clear, these polling questions are all anonymous. It's like the old Las Vegas commercials. What goes in the computer stays in the computer. Neither Katrelia nor I will know what you're saying. So please, please, please be honest so we get an accurate read on the AFT community. And this is the only question in the whole two-session course where you can click more than one box.
But we're going to ask as we get ready to get started that you keep your mics muted. We're going to go through these slides and with Bruce. Bruce is Bruce Miller for some who may have not had an opportunity to participate in his first two courses that he's offered, 2-day courses. He has graciously offered to do a third one here, especially for those of you who are thinking about taking the SRP or have decided to take the SRP. There's absolutely no reason that you cannot still work on getting financially fit even in retirement. And Bruce can tell you all about that because he is a guru in this. I have referred my sister to him. She's at Santa Monica College and she is retiring in June, and she has nothing but great things to say about the information that he provided her. And she has put it into play. She wants to be debt free. The only debt she wants is possibly her house, and it nearly paid off by the time she retires June of 2026. So um, it's doable. You got to have a strict plan, and man, is she on it. And anyhow, the poll is before you. Hopefully, you can see it. And we would like for you to, you know, fill that out quickly. It's multiple choice. Also, please be careful of a very important thing. We are in a public forum, so please do not share any personal health or financial information while we're on this line. If you would be so kind as to put questions in the chat, third person messaging, not identifying yourself, that you're talking about yourself. So you want to de-identify just a general question. That's perfectly fine, but it's the specifics that are makes us nervous because everyone gets to see your personal information. Also, please raise your hand if you have a question. Unless Bruce says, open your mic and just shout out to me because he likes that. He loves to engage with you. But to keep everything decent and in order, put the majority of your questions while he's speaking in the chat, and I'll interrupt him on your behalf as the moderator to make sure that you get an answer. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Bruce Miller. I would like to introduce him. He has his master's in business administration. He is a retiree who wants to give back to the community college community. And he has chosen LACCD. He's taught numerous courses to our students over at City College, but he's also taught this course. And actually, for us, he's modified it because of the SRP so as to help us to, put our thinking caps on how to survive the district, how to survive after the district, and be good for you and your family. So he's taught this course to the LA Sheriff's Department. He's been at, I believe it was Stanford. And I'll let him tell you, he's been all over teaching this course, and he's been called back numerous times because we just are not taught this in our elementary, high school, homes, wherever we are. We're not taught how to understand money and the whole money arena. But he knows it like the back of his hand, and he understands it in such a way. I really feel that it's a gift to be able to break it down in such a way that we all can understand it. He can relay that in a way that we all get the trick, what we're doing wrong, or maybe what we're doing right. And so, with that, Bruce, take the mic.
Thank you, Katrelia. It's a pleasure to be back here. Let me start by sharing the results of the polls. And what I can tell you is you have all come to the right place. About a quarter of you want to learn about getting out and staying out of debt. I hope that's 100% of you want to be out of debt. Maybe very few of you have debt, but we're going to be discussing that today. We're also going to be discussing today budgeting and saving more. And you can see over half of you are interested in that. So those will form the basis of what we're going to do in session one, together with part one of the SRP. And then in our second class, and this is off the charts, almost everybody wants to learn about investing for your future. That'll be in session two, in addition to learning about financial freedom, which I think everybody wants to be free. And again, in session two, we will be doing part two of the SRP. We apologize if the material we sent out on the registration was maybe not exactly clear, but this is a two-part class. If you want to get the full dose of both saving and investing and getting out of debt, and you want to get the complete picture of SRP, you need to attend both classes. So with that, I will share my slides. And I just want to confirm that everybody can see that. Terrific. Well, welcome to Understanding Money, Financial Literacy for All for Free. I'll talk a bit more about the for free part in a couple minutes. But first, you had a bit of homework for today. Everybody was asked to add up what they own and subtract what they owe. That's a fancy name for your net worth. And then you were asked to do a monthly budget. Look at all the money you have coming in from LACCD or from side jobs or investments, and then take stock of what the heck you're spending your money on and how much, and do a monthly budget on that.
Sorry. Need to interject. My apologies, everyone, because of the SRP dinners as well as all 14 of the health fairs, I failed to send you this homework assignment. So, Bruce, forgive me.
No sweat.
It was one of the things I missed.
No problem. You're very busy. No sweat. So everybody just kind of think about your current money situation. You can fill these forms out at your leisure after class. And remember, Katrelia said up front, money is all very personal, private thing. We're not going to ask for any numbers, but we do want to take an emotional temperature check. So thinking about your current money situation, how are you feeling? And so please answer the following polling question honestly. Which of these four things is closest to the way you're feeling right now? And remember, for those of you who joined a bit late, these are entirely anonymous. Only the computer will know what you're saying. So don't feel any shame if you're in the anxious category, because neither Katrelia nor I will know. All the data get aggregated. So everybody, please answer quickly. We want to get an accurate read on the AFT community. Still need to hear from about half of you. This is like pretend you're back in high school or college where you were judged on audience class participation. This will also keep everybody awake because I'm not that interesting to listen to. So still about a third of you. We'll give it a couple more seconds. We want you all to be involved. And our answers. These are fairly typical of what I've seen at all the schools where I teach. About a quarter of you are feeling anxious. I'll deal with that in a moment. Some of you are feeling confused or don't know where to start, and you'll hear throughout this class, my punchline to everything is that's why we call it understanding money. You heard from Katrelia, this doesn't get taught. And so what keeps me in air quotes employed in retirement is passing on this learning that I've had to be able to retire with dignity and help others do the same. About a third of you are in the pretty okay category, and about a third in the good but could be better. But here's the promise we're going to make to you. If you attend both sessions and actively participate and do the exercises, we promise all of you will be feeling much better about your financial circumstances after just these two 90-minute classes. Okay, so I mentioned about the anxiety up front. I had a woman in a prior class who just the mere mention of the word money sent her over the edge. I promise all of you, pretend you're in a yoga class or a meditation thing. Everybody take a deep breath. Exhale. I promise to reduce your financial anxiety. We are also going to keep this really simple. You don't need any higher level math or finance. There's going to be no jargon. We keep the class very accessible. Second, progress takes time. Just like eating more healthfully or exercising, this stuff doesn't happen overnight, but if you start now, you will begin to see progress. Our goal is after these two sessions, each of you will be able to utter 4 magic words to yourself. I can do this, meaning financial empowerment, that you will be able to confidently and competently handle your money without having to pay someone else to do it for you. And I mentioned the for free part up front. There's no funny business here. There's no upsell. There's no product being pitched to you. My joke is if you do nothing I recommend, I make $0. But if you do everything I recommend, I also make $0. Remember, I'm retired. You may not agree with everything that I suggest, but you'll never say to yourself, oh, gee, I wonder if he gets a kickback, a fee, a commission for this. And I just want you to take that at face value. I have taught 12, count them, 12 classes at LACC. If there were any funny business going on here, they would have gotten rid of me after one session. So everybody relax. All I'm doing is giving you advice because at the end of the day, it's your money and your decision what you will do with it. How is this going to work? It's a team effort. I'm going to do the things on the left. You're going to do the things on the right. I'm going to walk with you through these two classes over the next couple days. And I will importantly be there for you after you, quote, graduate from this course. What do we mean by that? In return for showing up, I'm going to give you a link to my private calendar where you can schedule private, confidential, free, one-on-one Zooms to discuss your personal money situation. And you can have as many as you want. They're all free because we get back to that personal thing. There are going to be things you don't want to share in front of your fellow AFT members. And so these sessions will give you the opportunity. Your role, where you see this toolbox, that means a little bit of work on your part, which I don't mind asking for because, hey, it's your life savings. And where you see this link, it'll take you to outside resources that we don't have time to go over, but you can read about on your own. So we're going to begin with the 4 or 5 things we're going to be discussing. This 5th one, investing, is for next session. But here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about what is financial freedom and what we call your big why dream. We're going to look at your current money situation. Then we're going to discuss debt and credit cards and credit scores, and then everything you want to know about saving. But first, what is financial freedom? It's the freedom to not have to work another day in your life for a paycheck. You may all love what you're doing with the district, and want to do it and ignore SRP and do it well into your 60s or 70s. In which case, I salute you. If you love what you're doing for your life's work, you're welcome to continue doing so. But financial freedom means you don't have to, that you have enough money set aside through some combination of your pension and other saving and perhaps the SRP, that you can live a nice life without having to work anymore. And that future life that you see for yourself, we call your big why. It answers the rhetorical questions. Well, why would I get out of debt? Why would I avoid immediate gratification, spending every dollar that I have? Why would I take the long view and put aside money for my future? And so we're going to dream a bit now. We're going to talk about your big why dream. And it's okay to dream big, okay? I want you to have expansive dreams. Here are some thought bubble big why dreams that came from AFT members and college students around the country who took this class before you. You can see they're all over the map because everybody has their own version of what their dreams are. And this brings us to our next question. It's the only one where you'll be responding in the chat. So please, confidentially in the chat, do not use this poll here on the screen because we can't access it through Zoom. Ignore the poll. Just in the chat to Katrelia, give it a couple seconds and type a few words, a phrase or two of what your big why dream is. Okay, can be more than one thing. And remember, you are not, repeat, you are not limited to this chart because it's whatever speaks to you, whatever you would like to do if you had enough money set aside. Okay, so please type that to Katrelia and she will read them to us without saying who said what. Okay, and like I said, just pretend like it's a tweet where you only have limited characters, just a couple words. And Katrelia, if you can monitor the chat and share them with us.
I am there, but I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, there was one that just came in.
Okay.
Retired with financial freedom. Help
okay.
family with their finances.
Mm-hmm.
Help my family.
Everybody, please participate. Remember, it's painless.
More help my family.
Okay. Yeah, just read the new, the ones that are different.
Yeah. Retire with financial freedom. And let's see here. There was another one, secure children's financial future.
Mm-hmm.
Live comfortably with peace of mind.
That's a good one.
Travel. Yes, travel and never worry about money.
I
agree.
Yes, that's a great one.
Not worry. How to start a family business and a trust.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
That's good too.
Well, those are all beautiful big why dreams. And Katrelia and my collective dream for you is you're able to achieve those. And that this class, these 2 sessions, will put the odds on your side to have that big why dream a bit easier. Okay? Thank you for sharing all those. Those were great. So here's your first piece of homework. We want you to write it down. I know we just snuck up on you in 5 seconds, but we want you to put it on a sticky note. Put it on your refrigerator, on your mirror, on your dashboard if you have a vehicle, only to be looked at when you're not in motion. Safety first. You word it any way you want. The way I worded mine was shown here. I want to achieve financial freedom by the time I am. And then you fill in an age, particularly important if you're contemplating SRP or not. So I can, and then whatever your big why goal or goals are. 2 reasons we want you to write it down. The first reason, it makes it more tangible. When you stare it in the face every day and say, oh, I was about to make that big purchase, but wait a minute, time out. This big why dream is so important to me, I'm not going to buy that thing. Okay? So it makes it more tangible when you look at it and you reaffirm it and commit to it every day. Just like dieting, just like exercising. The second reason we want you to write it down is so you take personal financial responsibility. And we put personal in italics for emphasis. Why is personal financial responsibility so important? Well, on the next slide, we will investigate all the ways you wouldn't have to take personal financial responsibility, where you could dump the responsibility on somebody or some other entity. Okay? And we will explore how realistic it would be for you to do that. And so ask yourself, how, I hope you're going to answer yes to all these questions. Okay? And let me just take this off for a moment. Aren't the following all true? Number one, I can't expect Social Security to bail me out. I think you would all say yes to that, that Social Security is not enough to do all the big, wide dreams that you have. Number two, isn't this true? Yes, I don't expect to inherit a fortune. In fact, a number of you talked about helping your family. Three, yes, I can't count on winning the lottery. Four, I'd like to have even more than what I will receive from my pension. And five, this is more for comic relief, my name isn't Shakira or LeBron James or Jennifer Lawrence. Okay? So if you answered yes, 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 that means you have to take personal financial responsibility. And so here's that next polling question. If you're yes, you have to take responsibility. And if your answer is no, it's, oh, I'm set for life. I didn't have to worry about it. So can we share that poll? Oops.
It should already be there.
Yeah.
And it was at 100% yes.
Oh, everybody. Okay. Yeah, because I can't see it, but thank you for telling me. This is not a surprise, folks. Pretty much everybody says yes, 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 yes. Okay. Thank you for being honest about that. And bravo and brava to all of you for being here, because you are taking personal financial responsibility simply by showing up, which means this course can be life-changing for you. And I hope you will agree it is after you take session 2. So we're now going to rewind from your dreams and get really practical and look at your current money situation. And we're going to talk about cash. What is cash for? And you're probably thinking, what is this guy talking about? Of course, I know what cash is for, but hang with me. There may be some uses of cash you haven't thought about. Next, how to handle the money you have. And to be clear, by cash, I don't simply mean the money in your wallet or purse. I mean any money on your person or in checking, saving, any kind of investments that you have. Then the 2 homework assignments, how much money do you have and how much you're spending and on what, and we'll try to work around these without having filled out the forms. But first, what is cash for? This first one is kind of in the no duh category, because you probably not only do it once a day, but multiple times a day. You use cash to pay bills and to buy stuff. Okay? Your second use of cash, for any of you who find yourself in debt, is to use that cash to dig yourself out. Your third use of cash is what is called an emergency fund. And you'll notice we're going to talk about it in both sessions this week. But first, an audience participation. Can somebody either come off mute or raise their hand or put it in the chat to Katrillia what they think the definition is of an emergency fund? And if everybody could please be on mute, that would be great. Anybody know what an emergency fund is? Adrian, please share with the group. What do you think that means?
It means saving up to about 10K minimum to cover any kind of expenses in the event of an emergency like medical or car accident or something like that.
Exactly. One of our many honor students at AFT, he is exactly correct. Call it a rainy day fund, call it a what do you do when life intervenes fund. It's the difference between having that unexpected expense, not be thrilled about it, but saying, thank goodness I've got the money set aside to pay for it, versus, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. I'm going to have to borrow on a credit card and pay $1 bazillion in interest. We're going to talk about 2 levels of an emergency fund. A small one for those of you in debt, and a larger one closer to what Adrian mentioned before, when you're out of debt. And we're going to talk about it, as you see here, across both sessions. And then the final use of money, level 4, the platinum level, whatever you want to call it, is after you've paid your monthly bills and gotten out of debt, step 2, and established an emergency fund, your next step is saving and investing, putting aside money beyond what you've been putting in the pension plan to invest for your financial freedom. Okay, so how to handle your current money. Just like I said at the beginning, we keep this class really simple. We keep this course really simple. So I'm going to divide you into one of 2 groups, and I'm not going to ask you to identify yourself because it involves money and we're back to personal. But group number 1 has very little money, and group number 2 has more money. I'm defining group number 1 as you end the month and you have only hundreds of dollars in your account, or $1,000, maybe $2,000. Okay, it's rather arbitrary, but that's what I'm going with. If you are in that category, the only account you need right now is a checking account. That's it. Okay, but my watch out to all of you is make sure it's a checking account that is fee-free, meaning you're not paying a monthly service charge on your account, and you are not on a regular basis using ATMs where your money takes a $3 to $5 haircut every time you take money out of the machine. So a quick show of hands without asking what the fee is or how many times you're using the ATM. Is anybody right now paying a monthly fee on their checking, either a monthly fee or a regular ATM charge? Quick show of hands using the icon. Okay, I hope you're all being straightforward with me. That's fantastic. So nobody has homework in that category. But again, if somebody were reluctant to raise their hand, go switch banks if you're paying a monthly fee. You can look online and find many banks that'll handle you for free. You can talk to your neighbors. Just please do not pay any money for your checking. Okay, that's
And
group.
we have a credit union.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And if your credit union, I'm guessing the credit union offers free checking to members, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so any of you who is paying now, you go move to the credit union like, oh, I don't know, how about this afternoon? Great idea, Catralia, thank you. Okay, for group number 2, you have more money, $2,000 or more. I want you to open a second account called a high yield savings account. Once again, audience participation. Can somebody come off mute and share what a high yield savings account is and how it contrasts with just a regular savings account? Have you heard that term before? Again, show if somebody can raise their hand, we can call on them, or they can contact Catralia. Oh, go ahead.
A high yield savings is kind of like a savings, but you get more.
You are
more interest rate on it. Like right now, I think it's around 4%, or
you are
some of them
you are
5.
you are our honor student, Candy. She is exactly correct. Let me compare it with a plain crummy savings account at my local brick and mortar bank.
And wait. And Robert Crossley says a higher rate of return on what you put on into your account.
He is exactly correct as well. Well done, both of you. Okay, compare it to my local bank. They pay, wait for this, 1 penny per year on $100. Can we all agree 1 penny is basically nothing? So don't get suckered opening a savings just because it's easy at your local checking account bank. You go to your credit union, or you go to bankrate.com. This link will be live when Catralia sends you the slides. And you will see, like what Candy was saying, you can find a gazillion banks that are paying over 4%. That's $4 per year per $100, not 1 penny. And so if you're blessed with resources beyond a couple thousand, don't leave a bunch of money in your checking. Open one of these and put your money to work. And these
Just
accounts.
to interject,
I'm sorry.
Schools Federal, our credit union, Schools Federal Credit Union, It was designed for classified staff. They have a summer savings account at a rate of 6.6%.
Yeah, that's way better than the accounts that I'm sending you to here are similar to what Candy was saying. They're paying about 4.3. So you can do the summer savings in your credit union. And because that's for a limited time, obviously, can we agree 6 is higher than 4? Remember, I said we keep this course simple. And then you can move the money into the 4% at a bank rate bank. And your account is insured up to $250,000. These are all mostly online banks. Don't be worried about that. Just pick one. You'll see they're all rated on a 5-star rating. Just pick one that's like a 4.7 or a 4.8. Don't overthink it and move your money once you've put it in the credit union. Okay.
Yes, because that was a question. How do we know if these accounts are trustworthy?
Yeah, they are all very fine banks. They wouldn't be on Bankrate if they weren't. And I'm repeating myself, you're insured up to $250,000. No one has ever lost a penny. Okay? All right. How much money? Oh,
One more.
of course.
It says here, wait, here we go. Hello, I don't have a high yield savings account, but I have some money in a money market fund. Is
Yes.
it worth moving over
I
to?
think you sent me the same agenda.
Yeah, and if everybody can be on mute. Yes,
Not this
absolutely.
one.
Robert, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Yes, absolutely. My guess is you just want to chase the higher rate. I will bet you a nickel that your money market account is not paying 4.3 like on Bankrate or 6 point whatever at your credit union. So yes, I call it the reverse of Amazon. You're on Amazon and you're going to buy a pair of pants and they're $20 on one site and 19 on the other. You're going to chase the 19, right? It's the reverse on the interest. You chase the higher number. And don't go crazy, but like once a quarter, and we just started the fourth quarter of the year, October 1st, once a quarter, check to make sure your bank is in the pack at the highest level. And if it isn't, you march with your wallet to another bank. Okay. This next question, remember, since you didn't fill out the net worth sheet, this will be a little tricky, but just in general terms, we're going to ask you where you stand on debt, okay? And somewhere between a lot of debt and very little debt or no debt and a lot of savings. And your net worth is simply subtracting your debt from how much money you have, and what's left is your net worth. So to use easy math, if you had $5 to your name and you owed $1, you'd have a $4 net worth. You own 5, you owe 1, 5 minus 1 is 4. So I know we haven't done the sheet, but we're going to ask the polling question anyway. Just take it, give it your best shot because you probably have a decent idea, but this homework assignment will make you get very specific. Where are you on the debt to saving scale? Okay, and everybody remember, anonymous, we're not going to know what you're saying.
Oh, sorry here. It's not launching for me for some reason. Oh, okay. It's being shared, it says. Can you see the poll, everyone?
I cannot. I don't know if the other people can. Can they give you a thumbs up if they can see it?
No, no.
No, I didn't think so. Hold on. It just stopped working on me. Just a second.
No, it's okay. I can talk around it even if people can't share it or see it. But we'll give it a second, see if you can make it work. No sweat. Okay, so it's the next one after this one. That was the personal financial responsibility slide
Yeah,
12.
it's just doing some cookie things. I think
No,
this
it's okay.
is what slide? No, it's not. It completely destroyed that one.
Wow. Well, it's okay. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
So without asking for a show of hands, because we're trying to keep this private, I get that if you owe more than you own, meaning you're in debt, that is a highly anxious place to be, but we're going to show you a way out. You're going to be getting some saving tips later in the session that will help you. Because our goal is that everybody has enough money through their pension and otherwise to have enough money to live their big why. Your second piece of homework, and again, oops, there it is. Okay, now it's up there. Can everybody please answer where they are on this scale? Whoops. You either have a lot of debt, and it's however you define it. It's a gut check. No one's going to give you a number. Just, I have a lot of debt, I have a little. This third group is, I'm kind of at break even. I haven't saved much, but I'm pretty much debt free. And then the promised land, where we want everybody to be eventually, I have no debt and a lot of savings. Okay? So everybody, please, please, please answer quickly. And for the umpteenth time, and especially for the new folks, these are anonymous. So we don't hide where you are. No one's going to know what you said. Still have about 40% of you to respond. Please don't be shy. Give it 5 more seconds. And our results. First, as you can see here, 69% of you have some level of debt. I'm not going to minimize the plight and how you all feel about that. When I got out of school, I had debt, and I remember the stress it brought upon me. For what it's worth, I've had classes where this 69% has been as high as 85%. Okay? You can see here, very few of you, there are only 13% are kind of at break even, and 17% are where we want everybody to be with no debt and a lot of savings. But again, to get a very accurate, a more accurate read on where you stand after class, when you get a copy of the slides, please, please go fill out the net worth worksheet.
I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
It says, if I only owe for my home,
Yes.
is that considered a lot of debt?
Well, yes, it is, but with a big asterisk next to it, because you owe a lot, but I hope you also have a lot of value in the house. Okay, that's very different from credit card debt, where there's nothing backing it up other than a bunch of bills. Okay? All right. Our next question was a monthly budget. And again, without filling out the sheet, obviously filling out the sheet will be instructive because it'll help you get a handle on where your money's going. But for right now, just kind of anecdotally think about your life and ask yourself, at the end of the month, do I have savings from my biweekly paycheck, or do I have too much month left at the end of my money? Okay? And so it's a simple yes or no on the next polling question. Do I have money left that for you 69% that can start applying it to debt? And for everybody else, that you can use that money for a bigger emergency fund and to start investing. Okay, so again, a simple yes or no. And please go quickly, we have a lot to cover, and pretend like this is a speed test back in high school. Still have to hear from about 40% of you. Remember, all we ask is that you participate in these painless polls. Okay. And our numbers. Well, this is pretty encouraging. Nearly 70% of you can make some progress. Whether you have debt or not, you're setting aside more money each month. And the other third are not in that category. But remember, I said anxiety reduction. Notice here for you no's, we're going to help you get to a yes, because at the end of today's session, we're going to be giving you practical tips to save more money than you're saving right now, so stay tuned. Okay, So we talked about your dream. The rest of today is on debt and saving. And I can boil it all down, the magic, into one sentence. The magic to getting out of debt and saving is living on less than you make, which I will dramatize with my hands. Here's the money you have coming in. Here's the money you have going out. As long as this hand is below this hand, you have a gap here, and that money can be used to start working off your debt or saving, okay? Next session, session 2, is about meeting you once you're out of debt and investing and saving money for the long haul. But the rest of today is on debt and saving. And we'll start with debt. What is it? What's a credit score? How does it relate to debt? And what is a debt-free mindset? First, what is debt? It's money you've borrowed from a person, an entity, a company, a government, whatever, okay? When you owe money, hate to break it to you, but you have to pay it back because you have both a moral and a financial obligation to do so. 2 buckets you need to pay back. 1, the principal balance. That's what you borrowed. So you borrowed $50 on a credit card. That's $50 in principal. Number 2, that you have to pay back the fees, interest, that the lender puts on top of the principal because they are not going to give you the money for free. So you've probably heard the term APR, which is a fancy name for how expensive the interest is on your debt. And I'll use an example of a $100 loan where your loan rate is 6%. You have a 6% APR. That means over the course of the year, you would owe $6 in interest on every $100 balance in your loan of principal, okay? Credit cards and credit scores and how do they relate to debt? First, what is a credit score? It's a measure of how credit worthy you are, which in turn means how likely you are statistically to pay back your loan. The credit scores range kind of like the SATs, for any of you who looked at those when you were students, from a low of 300 to a high of 850. And here's a great rule of thumb. You want, just like on a college board, you want your score to be as high as possible. You need to be, if you're going to have a credit score, in the 700s or 800s. A 700 score is good, a mid 700 is very good, and above that is excellent. Your score is computed in what is called a FICO or FICO score. You may have heard that term before. And here's one of those links that I talked about earlier. You can go check your credit score for free by clicking on this link after class. There are 3 companies that compute your credit score. They each have their own secret formula, but they cluster. If you're high on one, you'll be high on the others, and low on one, you'll be low on the others. So don't blow your once a year free look for these all at one time. Check them once every 4 months on the 3, and you may actually bank at a place where you can check your credit score more than once. Now, I know most of you have had debt, but here's an interesting thing. For somebody who's never borrowed money from anybody for anything, nothing, if you check your score, it's not going to be 300 and it's not going to be 0. It'll be, to use a student term of the day, you're going to look ghosted, which simply means credit score indeterminate because you never borrowed money. There's nothing to fear from that. That is just as good as having a 700 or 800 score because you're living within your means and not borrowing money. Okay? I want to debunk a myth you might have heard before. Who has heard the following nonsense or something close to this? Oh, you want to know how to build a good credit score? You borrow a bunch of money on a credit card, you ring up a bunch of interest, you pay the thing off over time. That's the way to build a credit score. You go into debt to do so. Quick show of hands, has anybody ever heard that or something like that? Go into debt to build a score. I see one hand. Come on, folks. I bet it's more than one. Couple more. Okay, even more. More. Well, you need to ignore the person who said that because they're probably broke and they are giving you terrible advice. Let me tell you how to build a score, and I will share my own numbers with you because while we keep the course private, I have no problem sharing my own story. Here's how to have a good credit score. First, for those of you in debt, you must make your loan payments on time. If you pay late, or if you don't pay at all, or if you pay less than the minimum, you're going to trash your score. Number two, you pay your loans off quickly. Again, using my hands. Here's your income, here's your debt. Notice as the debt goes down, it's a smaller and smaller percentage of your income, which makes you look less and less risky to the bank. So don't keep the debt around like it's a pet. Get it paid off quickly. Credit cards. If you have one, we're going to talk more about this soon. You pay them off in full without fail every month because you do not want to be saddled with an APR that can range from high teens up to the highest I've seen is 38% interest. Again, we're not going to give anybody a hard time for the debt they currently have, but as you'll hear in a moment, we need you to draw a line and don't go in deeper. And then finally, never use more than 30% of your credit limit. Meaning, if the card lets you charge $1,000, never go above 300. Because when the bank sees you going 60%, 90% of the 1,000, they get all wigged out. Uh-oh, the person's getting close to their limit. I don't know if they're going to pay it back. So you outfake the bank and use the card very little to not go above 30%. On to my own life. I have one credit card. I pay it off in full every month. I have never paid $1 in interest. The last time I checked my score, and I keep under the 30%. The last time I checked my score, it was over 800. Now, to be clear, you get brownie points on your score for how long you've had your card. And I perhaps or likely have had my credit history longer than yours. But if you ignore the nonsense and just do what I recommended and are patient and pay off your cards, everything in full as quickly as you can, you too will have a 700 or 800. Okay. So what do I want you to do going forward? And this will be a change for the 69 or whatever percent of you who are in debt. Remember I said we're not giving anybody a hard time, okay? But just like eating healthfully or exercising, if you're not willing to make a change, nothing's going to change. So here's the mind shift for everybody starting this afternoon. You pinky swear and affirm the following. If I can't afford to pay cash for something, I can't afford it. Okay? If you're in debt, you just say, I'm not giving myself a hard time, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to get out. And for those of you who are out of debt, somebody asked earlier about the home mortgage. I'm okay on you having a home mortgage because houses are so expensive. But for any other kind of debt, period, you vow either to never go back if you're out of debt, or never start if you've never had debt, with the one exception being a home mortgage. Any questions on that? And I think we have a polling question here. No, maybe not. Is there a polling question?
Next slide.
Okay. No, and I think it's just about understanding how to have a good credit score.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead. I messed you up on the slides.
Oh, no worries. I'll launch it now.
There you are. So now, since we've gone over this, do you understand the myths and the truths of how to have a good credit score? I hope everybody's in that yes category. If you're not, please schedule one of those private sessions with me and we can talk about it further. Okay?
So, I have a question here.
Yes, please.
Having a partner with a higher score, you can become authorized user, and after 3 months, confirm with the bank, they will start reporting the usage and they will increase the score. So it's like combining one's credit.
Yeah, And my answer on that is, well, first, let me show bravo, everybody was listening. You all understand how to have a good score. But back to the partner thing. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I've seen it about half the time. Sometimes it helps your score, and sometimes it's as if you remain completely separate. But I'm going to add to the answer something that you haven't thought about. I know you said the word partner. If that is not a legal entity, if you are just basically roommates, my counsel to you is you do not, repeat, you do not commingle any financial relationship with that other person until and if you are married. Because you're thinking now the good part, oh, they have a good credit score, that looks good on me. If you become a co-person on the card and that significant other goes south and rings up a bunch of debt, you are jointly liable. So I'm repeating myself. Do not enter into any financial arrangement with anybody unless you are married and are legally connected to them.
Okay, have another question for you.
Yes.
Recommend paying off a mortgage or continue with the mortgage payments so the interest is reported at the end of the year?
Yeah, okay. Here's my advice. When this is more for next week or next session, but you're so advanced, you're jumping ahead and that's cool. My recommendation is that you put aside 15% of your gross income for savings, okay? And investing. Step one, if you're able to do that and you have additional money above and beyond the 15%, I would throw that against the mortgage to get out of the mortgage quicker. Okay? Your goal is not to have interest to report. That just is a fancy way of saying I'm in debt, and the interest doesn't save you dollar for dollar what you paid in interest. So ignore that nonsense. Okay? So again, to repeat myself, you continue to make the absolute payment on your monthly mortgage, but if you have additional savings every month, put it against the principal to get the mortgage off your back way quicker than the original time period you signed up for.
Oh, okay. Candy's hand is up.
Oh, okay, and please, Candy, go ahead and ask your question.
Sorry, I don't have a question.
Okay. And we also have another question. If we have a college loan with 3% interest,
Yes.
would it be better to just make a HYSA and never pay off the 3% loan?
No. My emphatic answer is no. There is no good reason staying into debt. So no. You get rid of the debt. You don't want to be paying money to anybody for anything. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Get it off your back. Take the money you have. Think about it. In effect, what you're saying is, I'm going to stay in debt to be able to have money in my savings account. In effect, you're going into debt to have savings. No, pretend the loan is paid off. You wouldn't borrow money on a student loan to open an HYSA. So don't do it the other way. Take any extra money you have and get that loan out of your life.
And for those who don't know what an HYSA is, could you please explain that?
Yes, it's a high yield savings account. It's the thing we were talking about earlier.
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah, acronyms. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of an important detour and we're going to talk about part 1 of the SRP. Remember, part 2 will be in session 2, but I just want to make sure. Can everybody thumbs up? You can see the screen, I hope, with the SRP? Everybody or no?
Yes, we can see it. And when you come back, we have another question on mortgage payments.
Okay, but you want to handle that now or do the SRP? Your call.
Yes, we can. So the question is, what is the benefit to make bi-weekly mortgage payments as opposed to monthly?
Yeah, great question. If you pay bi-weekly, you will work the principal balance off quicker because that first payment is coming in 2 weeks before, the one payment's coming in 2 weeks before the end of the month as opposed to at the end of the month. And that will accelerate you getting out of your mortgage. But very, very, very important. If you do that, don't just do it automatically without calling the bank or your lender and telling them, I want this applied to my principal balance. It's not just a prepay of my end of month payment, okay? Because you want to get credit for paying it earlier, okay? But once you work that out with the bank, making 2 payments a month is a neat, pain-free way of accelerating getting out of your debt. Okay, moving on to SRP, which I know a lot of you are interested in. The good news is between all the dinners and counseling you've gotten from Catrelia, the paperwork, the brochures, all the stuff you've been looking at, and knowing you must make a decision in the next week, I hope you're all pretty familiar with it. But this class today will give you a refresher and give you something to think about as you make a decision. First, what is the SRP? It's an annuity, which is a fancy name for money that will be paid to you over time if you elect to retire at the end of this year or in June. Okay? It's extra money above and beyond your pension if you retire now in one of those 2 due dates and follow the rules. How much will you receive? Again, we're not asking anybody what they make. But if you look at your and this should be on the paperwork that you have, it'll show you what number they're computing your benefit against. You multiply that number by 70%, meaning 0.7. You're making 70,000 a year. I'm making up that number. 70% of that is 49,000. You would receive, in that case, an annuity of $49,000. As I've learned from Catrelia, the district has had early retirement bonus programs like this in the past, but this 70% offering is the largest, most generous they've ever offered. Do or die, put up or shut up, whatever metaphor you want to use, you must, if you decide you want to opt in, you must do it by next week, okay? Once you're in, there is no going back. You must retire on one of these 2 dates as shown in the materials you were given, and that's it. The only way out is what you'll see here. If not enough people signed up, and it has to be 270 in your district, then the program is off and you do not, repeat, you do not have to retire. You're allowed to stay. But if
Robert
they
has
get,
his hand up. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Let me just finish that one
I'll wait
sentence.
you
and I'll-
finish. I'll wait you finish.
No problem. But remember, if 269 of your fellow compatriots in the district say yes, and plus you is 270, you are out. Okay? But I'll take a pause and Robert, please go ahead.
Oh,
Robert?
thank you. I have a question, and I know, Catrelia, you mentioned this when we were at Valley. Let's say you have
Yes.
half days and you have what is it called? Half days and whole days on your paycheck. Do you have to use those? Or if you don't use those, do you get paid for them?
Are you talking
But
about the
illness
sick
days,
time?
illness days.
Yeah,
Half and
okay.
whole illness days, yes.
So the whole days you can leave those, and they can be used to accumulate or be credited to your service hours.
So they'll go with your service credit. Okay.
Right. However, half days, CalPERS was clear. They're not going to accept half days, so you might as well take the sick day for a half day.
So use your half illness days. But
Right.
if you're planning on retiring, then keep your whole days because that goes with your service credit.
Correct. Now, how many hours do you need um, in order to have 1 year of service credit? That's
Correct.
2,000. So
3,000.
yeah, 2,000. So it's only going to be a little drop in the bucket, but if that's important to you, you can weigh that decision, as how you feel.
And then they pay you out for all your vacation.
And they pay you out for all vacation. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for that, Katrina. Okay, and then you see here at the bottom, if the district does not hit at least 270, you do not repeat. You do not have to retire. You can, quote, unresign and stay an employee. Moving on. Remember I said we're going to handle this across 2 different sessions because we have so much to cover. In our back half, in the next class, we're going to talk about how much you could receive. And remember, you all make different amounts of money. We're not going to ask for a show of hands, but we're going to take a typical 1521A employee. We're going to pretend they make X dollars, and we're going to walk through how much they would get. The second, this is very, very, very important. As you'll see looking at the plan, there are a ton of different options about how quickly, meaning when you would take the money. We are going to give you some thoughts to consider on that. And then, equally importantly, what do you use that windfall for? Okay, and I'll cheat and look ahead. It all depends on where you are financially, whether you're in debt or not, what to use the money for. Next, just like your pension, this money is not free, meaning the government's going to put their hands on part of it. So how do we minimize any taxes that we would pay? And then finally, this is my free Zooms where you can discuss not just SRP, but everything with me privately, confidentially, and at absolutely no cost. So with that, we will go back to our regular program in progress and start talking about saving. And I have to be able to get to the slides. Give me a second here. Okay. So the rest of today is about the what, the how much, the when, and how to save. These are the tips I keep talking about. So first, what will I save for? For you 60 high percent in debt, here's what I want you to do. Save at least a $1,000 emergency fund. I readily admit it won't cover every expense you could possibly have, but it's certainly better than sweating it at the end of the month and saying, oh my gosh, I have no money. Then you put the rest of the money that you're able to save against the debt, excluding house, okay? But credit card debt, school debt, personal loan, whatever, you pay against the debt. For you 30% or so of people who are debt-free, other than a home, I want you to build a bigger emergency fund. We're going to talk about this in session 2 as well. You heard about this earlier when someone said $10,000 or whatever. You think about how much money you are currently spending a month, and depending on how secure you feel, you earmark 3 to 6 months of expenses that you leave in a high yield savings account. And then everybody, whatever, think about long-term investing until you're out of debt, again, except for your house. Okay? We all clear? So depending on where you are in your journey, you're either saving a small emergency fund and clawing your way out of debt, or you're building a bigger emergency fund and starting to invest. Number 2, how much should you save? I mentioned this earlier. A good rule of thumb is 15% of your income before taxes. So I'll keep the math small. Just you use your own income. If you were making $40,000 a year, 15% of that is $6,000 or $500 a month. If you're in debt, you'd be using the 500 to pay down the debt. And if you were out of debt, you'd be using the $500 for a bigger emergency fund and investing. Okay? When should you start? Well, it's simple math. The earlier you start to get out of debt, the earlier you will be out of debt. And the earlier you start to invest, the earlier you will accumulate a bunch of money. And here's the really neat thing. The earlier you start, the less you need to save each month to hit a savings goal, which is dramatized on this page. Remember the TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I'm just using an arbitrary retirement age of 65, okay? On the left here are starting points of when you began to save in 5-year increments, whether you started at age 25, 30, and so on. You will see here that the earlier you start, the less you need to save to have $1 million. I know most of you, I'm sure on this call, are way older than 25. But if you rolled the clock back, $381 a month, that's less than $13 a day. That's like a latte and a sandwich, and you would have been a millionaire at 65. Not going to ask how old anybody is, but you can see here, the longer and longer you delay starting to save, the more and more you need to save each month to make up for lost time. So long story short from this chart, and don't get hung up on $1 million. You want to save $500,000, cut these numbers in half, okay? The earlier you start, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, the better it's going to be for you, okay? The rest of today, this should say 4, but the rest of today is on ways to make it easier to save. Yes, they all take a little bit of effort, but remember that big wide dream that you all had that is so beautiful that you say, okay, it's going to be worth it to put forth a little bit of effort. Here is tip number 1. And it's got the word first in it, so it's the first one on my list. It's called pay myself first. Can anybody come off mute and share if they heard that term before? What does that saving strategy mean? Pay myself first. Anyone? Okay, no problem. Remember I think I said my joke in this class is that's why we call it understanding money. Well, let me explain it by looking at the way most of us started to save. We took our income, we subtracted our expenses, and what was left was our savings. But I put, no. Why? Even though that sounds reasonable. Because for most of us, by the time we subtracted our expenses, there was very little left to save. So my exquisitely simple request to all of you starting today is we flip these last 2 words. We take our income, we earmark money for savings right off the top. We pay Adrian or Robert or Catrelia first, earmarking 15% of our money. And notice I say here in all caps, yes. You treat saving for yourself as a really important bill. So in your homework, this time you're going to have the slides and with the homework, the budget sheet. When you redo your budget, or in this case, you do your budget, I want you to put 15% of your income before taxes in the saving area on the budget sheet. That's tip number 1.
Bruce?
Yes, please. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, that's a mind twister for a lot of people because I know growing up, I was told that, you look at the expenses first when
Yeah.
you're budgeting
Right.
to make sure that you're covering those. And then if
Yes.
anything's left over,
Yes.
then save.
Yes.
So you're saying, I'm telling you, this is a paradigm switch.
Yes.
Okay, take the 15% and say, earmark it, put it to the side for savings.
Right. But to address the point you just made, we're going to explore that on the next page, which is we take a look at our expenses and we budget them as well. Okay? So here's the way it works. Remember I said you're going to go do your budget using this link. You're going to write 15% in the saving and debt repayment section, and then you're going to budget the remaining 85%, meaning you're not going to accept where the money has been going up until now. You're going to throttle back on it to be able to afford the remaining 85%. And here's how you're going to do it. When you look at the sheet we gave you, you will see that it doesn't alphabetize your expenses. It groups them into two groups, a group of absolute needs and then a group of wants. And my contention to you is that everybody on this call has at most 6 needs in their budget. Everything else is a want. And we're going to play audience participation. You can come off mute. You can share it to Katrelia. Let's see how quickly we can name the 5 or 6 absolute needs each of us has. Who wants to start?
Housing.
Bingo, we need a roof over our head, Shauna. You're exactly correct. That we got 4 or 5 to go.
Food.
Absolutely, Daryl, that's the number 1 need. Without food, we have no needs because our life is over. What else?
Insurance.
Bingo, Mary, love it. And I'm going to globalize that to mean insurance on our person, meaning health insurance, on where we live, any vehicle that we have, whatever. Okay, that's 3 down, maybe 3 to go. You're doing great. Bingo, yes, yes, yes. Utilities. We got to have the gas, water, and electric turned on. I'll cut you some slack and say some internet connection, but that does not mean 14 streaming services. So to reprise so far, we have food in our belly, a roof over our head, the lights turned on, and insurance. We have 1 or at most 2 more.
Transportation.
Bingo. And I love, Sinchel, that you said transportation. You didn't say Maserati. It can be your feet, a bus pass, a moped, a bicycle, a motorcycle, whatever. Okay? And we have perhaps 1 more, depending on I'll give you a hint, your family circumstances.
Childcare.
Bingo, Sinchel, double points for you. But folks, that is it. Everything else that you've been spending money on is a want. And from now on, you're going to look at it through that lens, which is going to make it easier for you to cut back on the 85. Now, I'm not saying never go out to dinner again. I'm not saying never buy another pair of shoes. But I am saying, particularly when nearly 70% of you have debt, you concentrate on those 5 or 6 needs. You still give yourself some wants to have some joy in life, but you slash the rest of them, and as if by magic, you will start saving money. Number 3, again, for those of you in debt, I'm going to complicate it and say debts plural, and I'm going to make it even worse and say debts in triplicate. And I'll keep the number small, but you'll get the idea. You have a $1,000, a $2,000, and a $3,000 debt. That adds up to 6. My advice, you attack the $1,000 loan first. You make the minimum payment on the 2 and 3. Remember, we don't get behind. It'll trash our score. Why do I want you to attack the $1,000 before the $2,000, before the 3? Audience participation. Anybody? Anybody?
Paying it off quicker.
Bingo, Tisa. Yes, just like jumping hurdles. It's easier to jump a 1 foot than a 2 foot than a 3 foot. If you're like me and you're a crazy box checker offer, here's the way it works. Minimum payment on 2 and 3, and you go like a crazy person against the 1. And before long, boom, I check off the 1. Now I'm down to 2 and 3. I make the minimum payment on the 3, I put all the money on the 2, and before long, boom, I check off the 2. That gives me the toehold, the victory, the confidence, the lift to then say, okay, I've got the longest slog to the biggest loan, but I've seen my success with the smaller ones. So again, I don't want to see a show of hands or anything, but if you find yourself with more than 1 debt, put them on a table, smallest to largest, and that's how I would attack them. Okay? Yes, Shauna, a question.
I do have a question. So I know it says in there that you shouldn't do it if you have to pay the highest interest rates first.
Yes.
But what about if you actually had like credit card that you could roll everything with 0%? And then let's just say that it was a $6,000 credit card. You max that one out, that's at 0, but you have like 2 others at like $4,000 and $5,000. Wouldn't you want to pay off the one that has the interest rate? Meaning put the highest amount on, let's say you have $2,000 to spend, you put 1,000 on one, 900 on the other, and $100 on the one that that's not accruing any interest, and then pay it down that way?
You could, but let me politely remind you of the math, okay? You did not, and I won't say you personally, people do not consider the math when they got into the 18 to 28% interest, okay? They just borrowed like somebody and then they couldn't figure out how to get out. So again, do what you want, but my advice is smallest to largest. Let me just give you an example using my $6,000 to make the point, even on the math. You have $6,000 in loans, okay? And let's say the interest rate is 12%. I'm making up a number. That's $720 a year. Your problem is not the 720. Your problem is the 6,000. So again, I'm saying for the third time, you can pay them off in any order you want, but since you're all sitting there with this debt and it hasn't been working up until now, I suggest you do it my way. Okay? But great question.
Are you saying that instead of the credit card with the 0% interest on it,
Yeah,
pay the minimum on that, but try to get rid of the cards that have that extra 18, 15% interest because you're giving away money? Is that what I'm
no, I'm
hearing?
saying the other way around. I'm saying you start with the smallest. I don't care what the interest rate is.
Oh, okay.
You get it out of your life just to get the psychological lift of saying, now I'm down to just one loan or two or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
Notice I said smallest debt first. Look here. The emotional boost of I've paid it off beats the mathematical boost of any interest saved. That's my position. Okay? Okay, moving on. Number 4, never, ever, 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 ever carry a balance on a credit card. Maybe some of you are paying it off in full, but guess what? Even you well-behaved people, research has shown that people tend to buy more stuff, more expensive stuff with a credit card than with cash, debit, or check. Can anybody share with the group why they think that is so? Why do we spend more with the credit card than with cash, check, or debit? Anybody?
It's like what Wimpy says. He'll pay you. He'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. So you're able to spend more and pay for it over time.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tisa.
Feels
When
like
you
a blank check, right?
Also, Mary, you are both correct. You feel the burn when you swipe your debit and see your balance drop. With the credit card, it's, well, I don't get the bill for a couple of weeks, and then I have 28 days to pay. So it doesn't seem like, quote, real money, so you're more generous with your purchasing. So again, even those of you who are not carrying a balance, before you swipe and buy anything major, call a timeout and say, wait a minute. If I had to take the 10s and 20s out of my wallet or purse, would I spend this much? And if the answer is no, you step away from the shopping cart, okay? Second watch out, even for you behaved people. The credit card companies don't give these to you because they like you. They do it because they know you have better than a 50% chance that you are going to fall off the wagon, carry a balance, and start running up 18 to 38% interest. Okay? Those are the facts. In fact, right now we're going to have a polling question around what has been everybody's current experience or behavior with their credit card. Okay, you're in one of three categories. You always pay it off, or you're always carrying a balance, or hey, I don't even have a credit card. So which of the following three categories are you all in? I pay it off in full without fail every month. That's where I want everybody to be. I sometimes always carry a balance, or I don't have a credit card. Okay? Everybody be honest. Which category are you in? Still have about 40% of you to respond. Can we please get from everybody? Remember, anonymous, no one's going to know who you are. Okay, and our results, you folks are actually doing a bit better than everybody else in America. You can see here, slightly over 50% of you are paying your card off in full. Again, bravo to you. I want you to stay there, but watch out for the overspending. But now I'm going to talk to this group. I have said throughout this thing, nobody's going to give you a hard time. But we will give you a harder time if you continue to exhibit the behavior that got you into trouble. So here's what I suggest for this group. Do a plastectomy. Stop today using the card. Let your inner voice say to you, okay, I've made some mistakes, no big deal. I'm not getting in any deeper, but starting today, I'm going to start operating within the self-imposed guardrails of cash, debit, and check. You're going to live within the mantra of, if I can't afford to pay cash for something, I can't afford it. And if you tighten your budget like what I showed you on the prior pages, this will become a whole lot easier. I have no problem having a credit card. Remember, I have one. And so the points that I earn are nominally free because I'm not paying 18 to 20 or 38% interest. For the rest of you, you're all enchanted with the 1 to 2% cash back, but back to math. Can we all agree that getting 1% back gets wiped out by 20, 30% interest? So stop doing it. No more use of a credit card, period. Any questions on that? Final point. This is a biggie because the most expensive thing any of you will buy other than a house, and if you don't buy a house, it will be the most expensive, is a car. Notice here, no new cars until you're unimaginably wealthy. You're a millionaire. And even then, you only pay cash and no more than 5% of what you're worth. You get out of what all your broke friends are doing, which is being seduced by, oh, I can afford the monthly payment. That is a crock. What that means is, think about it, it means, oh, I can go into debt to borrow money to buy a car, or quote, I can go into debt to rent a car, which is what a lease is. We stopped doing that, okay? Why do we not put a lot of money in a car? Because as you know, they go down in value. The fancy name is depreciation. You don't build net worth by putting your money in things going down in value. I had a woman in a prior class. This is a horrible story, but bear with me. She makes $30,000 a year. She borrowed $30,000 on a car, and the unscrupulous car dealer let her do it. Imagine, 100% of her income tied up in something going down in value. You may all want a new car someday, but hey, back to needs and wants. You may want a new car, but you do not need a new car, particularly when you are in debt. How do I recommend approaching a car? And I'll tell you my own story in a moment. You save up and you buy a modest used car for $6,000, $8,000, $9,000, okay? You go somewhere like Facebook Marketplace, so you're not paying a jacked up dealer markup. You do your research online to see what a car of that make, model, mileage, and condition should sell for, so you get a good deal. And you get the seller to agree that before you turn over the money, you can have an insurance policy, in quotes, having the car checked out at your expense by your mechanic to make sure it's not a lemon. That's how you buy a car. Now, my own life. I was getting out of school, student debt, very little money. My first car, paid for with cash, was a 5-year-old Volkswagen Beetle with hand crank windows, no air conditioning, and a crummy paint job. I would be lying to say when I parked it next to my broke associates at work who had borrowed money on a big fancy car that I was proud of my car, but I didn't care because being debt-free is more important than chasing the new car smell. And if any of you is ever in a category of, and it's an absolute emergency, you have no money and you absolutely have to have a car because you can't borrow from a friend or a relative. At worst, you go borrow 6, 7, 8, 9,000 on a used car. You do not go to a dealer and borrow 25, 30, 35, 40,000 on a newer or new car, okay? That's my advice on cars to stay out of trouble. Okay, any questions about cars? And like I said, this is not going to be a fancy car, but I don't care. If you need a car at all, you just need it to get you from point A to point B. And then if and when you get wealthy, you can upgrade. But for now, no, particularly when you're in debt. Okay, to wrap up, I want everybody going forward to pinky swear to the Understanding Money Pledge, the 5 tips I just gave you to save more money than you were saving before session 1. Okay? A recap of today. We started with your big why. We talked about your current money situations, debt and credit score, and how to save. Remember, I said bravo to all of you for showing up, whether you take the SRP or not. Give yourselves a big hand for joining us and being here. Well done. A quick look at some homework for you. They'll take you 20 minutes probably. First, write down your big why dream. We snuck up on you. You need to give your life's ambition more than the 5 seconds. Put it down on a sticky and start looking at it. It looked like nobody needed to move their checking account, but everybody who has extra money, go look at the credit union account, the summer savings. Look at Bankrate to find a way to make way more than the 1 penny a year at your local bank. Everybody, go do your budget. This implied that you had already done the first one, but again, no sweat. Click on this link, go do your budget. Remember, the magic to it is looking at needs versus wants, distinguishing between them, and earmarking 15% on the saving line. And then start following that pledge. If you don't start, nothing's going to happen. Okay? And remember, you don't have to memorize any of this. You're going to be getting the slides very soon from Cotrelia. Before our next session, like that old movie trailer, you are not alone. Remember, I'm here to help. For those of you who joined a bit late, in return for showing up, and you guys can click on these QR codes now, okay? 2 links for you to click on, and this will also be in the slides later that you can't click on, but the QR code is working right now. If you want to schedule free, private, confidential, one-on-one Zooms with me to discuss anything, whether it's SRP or life in general and finance, do one of those. My calendar gets really booked up, but every day a new day rolls onto the calendar. So if you're to check now and you don't see one, don't lose heart. Tomorrow, a new date sometime in November will roll. So you can click on that QR code to arrange time. A ton of your AFT members have already done that, and including Andrea, and found these very helpful. So again, they're free. No funny business. There's no platinum program. This next QR code, I want everybody, all 39 of you right now, click on this. It'll take you to my link tree. And if you scroll down, you will see links to Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Every week, I post 3 money-saving tips that go well beyond the course. Like back to that person who had their partner. What do I do if I move in with a significant other? How do I figure out how much money I need to retire? Do I need life insurance? Do I need a prenup if I'm getting married? My joke is you can also make fun of what I look like in the videos. But please, everybody, right now, while it's up here, click on this QR code. these videos are wonderful reinforcement of what's in the class. My joke is I will never be Beyonce. I'm not going to have millions of followers, but this can be of immeasurable help to you. So take the step right now. Everybody, click on this, and whether you use Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, start following me. Okay? And with that, I will stop sharing and answer. Look at this. We're within 1 minute of the 90 minutes. Talk about precision.
Woo-hoo.
While you folks think of any final questions, you also owe a huge round of applause to Katrelia, because without her tireless efforts promoting and re-promoting and reminding you to come to the class and monitoring the chat and launching the polling questions and everything else, you would not be privileged to be exposed to this information. So a huge debt of gratitude to her. She is a fantastic partner who I would like to clone for my other unnamed schools. And with that, she and I can stay around a bit. I know some of you have to peel off, but you've been great with the questions. Any other questions from anybody before we turn it over to her? And remember, don't be shy. Anything you want to know, your fellow AFT people want to know about as well.
Can you post those QR codes again? I didn't get the second
Sure.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Thank you. That's great. You want to follow me. I love it. Hold on. Okay, let me hit it up here. Okay. The second one goes to, like I said, Linktree, and you just, when you get there, scroll down and you'll see 3 other links. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can click any or all of the 3, and in fact, today we just posted a new video. I do them 3 times a week, and like I said, make fun of what I look like and let me know. But, share them, like them, comment on them, tell your friends, okay? And again, this link up here goes to my calendar. But as I said, unfortunately, I don't know if it's good or bad. I've had a bunch of classes in the last week, and because those people were ahead of you, they hogged most of the spaces, okay? I'll leave this up while we continue with any other questions to give you folks time. But any other questions from anybody before? Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Real quick, I'm looking on your calendar and you have a date available for November 11th. That's Veterans Day. Will you be available?
Yes.
Or taking that holiday off?
No, very excellent question. Sometimes I screw up and forget to block my calendar. Okay. You are correct, but I am going to be making myself available.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But you can see these people, Robert was already looking out a month. I only have limited hours. And like I said, a bunch of people already took most of the rest. But wait till tomorrow if you don't see something, and it'll become available. Okay?
Wow, you're amazing.
Oh, Mary, thank you. That was unsolicited. We are not related. I did not pay her to say that. What did you like? What struck you?
Oh, that you're willing to do this at all.
Oh, well, it's
True.
Remember I said I'm retired, and this is my purpose in life now. I said at the beginning, I think that I was able to retire with dignity. I want to help other people do it. My joke is not that I don't care about rich people, but they've got, fancy advisors that overcharge them and give them not so good advice. I want to help regular folk and be a difference in their life. And it also keeps me out of my wife's hair. But thank you. You'll see when you sign on, there's no ticket price, there's no upsell, there's no bait and switch to my platinum program, because there is none. Katrelia would not have had me back. Katrelia, this is our 3rd or 4th?
Third one.
Believe me, if anything funny had gone on, she would have whacked me a long time ago. You don't mess with Katrelia. Okay? Any other questions?
I have a question in regards to credit cards.
Yes.
So I pay all of my utilities with one credit card, and once a month pay off the entire balance on the credit card. Should I
Yes.
not be doing that?
No. Okay. Remember, Isabel, you are being well behaved. Remember I said I use a credit card and I pay it off in full every month like you do. So the points we earn are nominally free. I have no problem with you doing that. I have a problem with you doing it if you don't pay it off and are then paying 18 to 38% interest.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, it's only the credit card can be plutonium in the hands of an undisciplined kid or a drunken sailor, or it can be a way to earn some freebies if and only if you pay it off. But remember, about half of you are not in that category. That group, the non-Isabel group, I'm opting for you to conduct a plastectomy this afternoon. Okay? Was that clear or no?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. No, fantastic question. I love the way you're doing this because everybody, all your fellow AFT members are learning from the wise questions you are all asking. Anyone else? Okay, well, we will turn it over to Katrelia to talk to you about session 2. Remember, to get the full dose, you gotta go to both because we have the rest of the SRP and all about investing. Over to you, Katrelia.
All right. So I have placed several times in the chat information on the pre-work, the net worth sheet, so you can come up with your own net worth as it is as of today, as well as the monthly budget. I advise you by next class time to please do that. I will be sending, as soon as I edit this video, I will be sending you some of the same information in an email, but also include the link to this so that you can review the sessions before we get into the next session. And the next session is going to be Friday. Same time, same place, same link. And so if you did only sign up for one of the classes in this 2-part course, you need to sign up for the second class. But nonetheless, the link, it'll be the same link. So that you won't have to go scrounging around looking for it. You'll have the link already. And thank you for your participation today. If you have no further questions, we're going to release the line.
And Katrelia, you can stay around just for a second.